Welcome back to a brand new episode of You. Now, today's podcast episode is really something of a conversation starter, because one of the things that's been coming up quite a lot in conversations I've been having in different groups is this idea that how we perceive God is different, or not quite really how he wants to be known by us. And so there's going to be a little bit of a play thing at the end of this, a little bit of homework. Let's not call it homework, a plaything, play work. No, I don't know. Anyway, there's a writing exercise at the end of this. There's a question, and the question is, what are the lies about God you've grown up believing? That is the question I have, and that's the title of the episode. We're going to dig into it a little bit, very briefly as ever. We always aim to be around 5 to 10 minutes for these episodes. And of course, if you're not already a member of the Itchy Soul Playground, and you want to be, there's no reason why you shouldn't be. It's pay what you want. uia.com/join, where you can find out more and you can join us, because this is a conversation that we can be exploring in the playground. It's the perfect safe space to have those conversations, because there's no judgment around this. Quite candidly, some of the stuff that's been coming up, this whole thinking, this is part of a journey that God took me on during the first lockdown in 2020. I've been doing some studying and some reading and lots of things. And one of the piece we're going to think about today, I'm going to introduce you to today. And if you've come across this before, brilliant. But if you have never come across this before, and it's all new to you, that's okay too, because it was all new to me. And so the piece I want to introduce you to today is this idea that church history has been heavily influenced by ancient Greek philosophy, and that's no judgment around the Greek philosophers, or not giving them a hard time. They were doing the best they could. They had this understanding of God as being far away and aloof and all powerful, and that infiltrated the church thinking, and that's part of a much bigger conversation, because yes, God is big and he is powerful and he did speak the stars into existence. There's nothing about that statement that is not true, but that is not how he wants to be known by you. And there is a big danger when we keep God over there far away. I described it, I think it's today or tomorrow, in the love note that we share in the playground. I say or tomorrow because Holy Spirit shared with me today. I've typed it up, and I can't remember whether I typed it up for today or tomorrow. That's why where that confusion is. I'm not like foreseeing into the future, in case you wondered what that was about. But this idea of God being a big picture God. Yes, God sees the big picture. He knows the big picture, but he's actually really interested in the details and specificity, and asking him questions. And so when we keep God over there, far away, distant, aloof, it becomes really difficult to do day-to-day life with him. And so I would maintain that actually this idea that he is far away and aloof and big and powerful and amazing, and that's where we need to hold him all the time, is actually a lie that's been peddled by the devil, maybe. I don't know. But like if anything that comes in the way of you doing day-to-day life with Papa, Jesus and Sam, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, God 3 in 1 in relationship, anything that stands in the way of that, any lies that stand in the way of that, any beliefs that stand in the way of that, the devil's going to love that, because he really hates it when you spend your time talking to God. So I don't want to sort of blame evil spirits, blame the devil, when maybe he should be given credit for that. But I'm just putting it out there by way of discussion starter. And a lot of this is the beauty of community, is that we can pose these questions. We can agree to disagree. There'll be times when we don't always come to the same conclusions. That's perfectly fine. But what I really would love for you to start considering is what is that picture of God that you grew up with? Is that how he wants to be known by you? Because if not, it's time to revisit that picture. And I'm actually in the process of outlining with Holy Spirit an idea for a book, a fiction book. The idea of doing it as non-fiction sounded really dull and boring. So I basically said to God, look, can we do this as a story? Because it'd be so much more fun. And so we are. And it's a time-travelling story, and I'm really excited about it. It's called The Architect. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that, other than to say that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be writing this and releasing it in little installments on the Facebook page and on Instagram. So if you're not already following the Facebook page, or you're not already following on Instagram, depending on where you like to be, I would encourage you to do that. I'll put links in the show notes to places where you can do that. And I'll also be sending out updates via email to the Friday email as well. So that's another way. If you don't want to do social media or don't want to keep in contact that way, you can get it via email as well. But I'm really excited about it, not just because it's time travelling. And some of you know I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, but there's no TARDIS in this story because the TARDIS is, already copyrighted. That would be like completely cheating. But I'm really excited about this idea of using storytelling to explore who we are, where we've come from, why we believe the things we believe, how we've got to where we are today. And the really fun thing is I'm not doing this by myself, I'm doing this with God. And so he knows all of that. He knows what it's going to look like at the end, even when I don't know all the answers yet, which is kind of challenging and also really exciting. So I would encourage you to follow along if that's something that sounds fun to you. But more than anything right now today, I would really love you to grab a piece of paper or grab your journal or get your keyboard out or however you most like to do a sort of writing play thing and write down the question, what are the lies? And imagine that you're actually, not just imagine, you're going to ask this as a question of God. What are the lies that I've been believing about you, God, as I've grown up? Okay, what are the lies about you that I've grown up believing? Write that down. And then just pause and then see what comes up and write down what comes up for you. Even if some of the stuff that you write down feels like, ugh, that doesn't make any sense at all, write it down anyway. You don't need to be editing yourself. This is just between you and God. And yes, of course, if you're in the playground and you want to share some of that, you can do that safely. But in the very first instance, this is just you and God. There's no need to edit. So just write everything that comes up. Be real with him. I quite candidly yesterday, I said to God, okay, I asked him a question. I said, look, I don't want any of your airy-fairy answers. I want a specific answer here, please. And when I shared that story with a couple of people, ooh, and they laughed, because that's not how we're encouraged to talk to God. Now, God is amazing and powerful, and he did speak the stars into existence, and he is holy, and we are to be, reverential and give him respect and all that sort of stuff. But I wasn't saying it disrespectfully. I was just being real about where I was at. And there are lots and lots of examples in the Bible of people being real with God. And I do believe that you can be real with God because he loves you. That ultimately, and I've said this before, your construct of how God feels about you, your picture of God and how he feels about you is going to directly influence how real you can be with him and how much you can trust him. And so part of that's what this conversation starter is really about. Asking him, what are the lies about you that I've grown up believing? Because once you know what those lies are, you can start then identifying them, exploring them, poking at them, seeing if they're actually true or not, and move forward from there. So I really would encourage you to play along with this. If you're going to do it in the playground and you'd like to share, please do. If you're not a member of the playground, you know where you can join. If you're doing this independently, that's fine too. If you need some hints around that stillness, my whole essence of you here is about you being you with God. So for me personally, I love to put my headphones in and there's an instrumental playlist that I put on because I find if there's words, they distract me. Other people like to go for walks outside. Other people like to look up at the stars. Whatever it looks like for you, just other people do the dishes or when you're in the shower. Whatever it looks like for you, just to stop the overthinking, stop the busy, and just be still before God. Do it that way. There is no right way or wrong way of doing it. And if you're not sure, just try something or ask God to help you know how to do it. He wants to be known by you. But I would really encourage you to play along and, like I say, share what comes up for you. And if you're not a member of the playground, come and join us. youhere.com/join, and I will put links to Facebook and Instagram where you can follow along as we explore the story of the architect. Very excited about that one. Anyway, as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for following along. I look forward to catching up with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.